scene. Now our lives are complete. The Cubs are #1.
Cubs win, holy cow. If you're a sportscaster who's ever sampled Harry Caray's trademarks, and we all have. If you're a fan who's ever listened, and we all have, send one up tonight for Harry Caray. He died Wednesday afternoon at the age of 77. He'd been comatose since collapsing Valentine's Day night while celebrating with his wife. Caray started broadcasting big league games the year World War II ended, 1945. Stints with the Cardinals, the A's, and the White Sox followed until he landed with the Cubs in 1982. Caray has been there ever since, making the seventh inning stretch something everybody could look forward to. Chip Caray, who was going to help out his granddad calling games this season, made this announcement when else on the job calling a game.
It's going to be strange, you know, not seeing him up there and not talking to him before games. And, you know, like I said, this organization has just received an overhand right to the chin, no question about it.
It's going to be hard to enjoy some particular seventh innings knowing that Harry's not up there, and it's going to be hard to get used to.
He was the greatest ambassador for baseball there is. I've been in this game many, many years, and I haven't seen anybody who respected the players and who loved the game as much as Harry did.
Doctors say the cause of death was a sudden change in the rhythm of his heart, which restricted oxygen to the brain. We will remember the thick glasses, the raspy voice, and the 53 years of baseball broadcasting. More on the legend later on in the show. Harry Caray dead at the age of 77.
It's strange to think that we're going to go through a Major League Baseball season without Harry Caray. It's certainly not going to be the same, but at least we can take some solace in the fact that Mel Allen, Red Barber, and Richie Ashburn all have some company today.
The dawn of the cable age brought WGN-TV to the nation, and a voice already familiar to the heartland of America became a national icon.
There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. And
For the most part, there was very little programming. So baseball was the constant, especially in the Midwest and in the South. And Harry Caray was the constant sound that you heard every night, over and over and over again.
Television made Harry Caray famous, but the first 25 years of his career were spent on the radio with the Cardinals, where he displayed the same unbridled enthusiasm for the game.
holy cow, he came through.
A lot of people grew up listening to Harry Caray, and I was told more than once that people would go to Cardinal games and be disappointed because the game wasn't quite as exciting as the one they heard Harry Caray describe. He was equal parts baseball play-by-play man in terms of craft and P.T. Barnum trying to get the people into the tent.
Can you imagine an orphan kid from St. Louis who suddenly finds himself broadcasting his beloved St. Louis Cardinals and even the St. Louis Browns? They weren't beloved because I was a Cardinal fan, but that's how I started broadcasting.
Harry Caray brings life and vitality, always has.
Caray admitted he couldn't sing at all. He figured that's why so many fans weren't afraid to sing along with him. Singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" during the seventh inning stretch became a Chicago tradition during Caray's tenure across town broadcasting White Sox games. That same voice, so ill-suited for singing, helped him connect with his listeners.
Kenny Boyer would be next. 1 ball, no strikes. Musial, the hitter.
Harry would say, Musial, and here's Musial, and Jabo Jablonski. Here's Jabo Jablonski. Rip Rapolsky. It's almost like he loved to say the name. Here's the pitch. Popped it up. Can you believe it? $7 million a year, and he pops it up. What's the matter with him? Holy cow!
When one of the team stars pops up with the bases loaded, I go, oh, he popped it up. When he gets a big base hit, boy, I'm ecstatic. Well, that's what a fan is.
I learned a lot from Harry. I learned a lot of good, and I learned a lot of bad. When I first joined him in 1954, that was a long time ago, he'd say something on the air, a pitcher would walk somebody with the bases loaded, And he'd say, get that guy out of there. I said, my God, you're going to get us both fired.
Now, Harry's been doing the games for 50 years, right? I mean, he is not just some fan sitting in the stands. We all understand that, but that's his style. And if you're a fan and you're a Cubs fan, you have to relate to it because that's exactly the way you feel about it. Rhino, you bum!
I want to know about your suspenders.
Don't you think these are pretty good?
For third, he doesn't even look there, goes to first. He might have had a play at third base.
Carey was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1989, but one of his biggest thrills came when he shared the broadcast booth at Wrigley with his son and grandson.
When he made this play, he got off the mound in pretty good shape, and again, Gary Scott was charging toward the plate.
Skip, his son, works for the Braves. His grandson, Chip, was looking forward to sharing the Cubs booth with his grandfather this season, continuing a broadcast tradition that spanned 53 years. Harry Caray is survived by his wife, Dutchie, 10 children, 15 grandchildren, and countless fans who watched and listened to him over the years. Harry Caray was 77 years old.
Thanks for all the fun and the love, Harry. We're going to miss you. Godspeed.
Today, fans are mourning the loss of legendary Chicago Cubs announcer Harry Caray. Caray died Wednesday in California after suffering a heart attack on Valentine's Day. NBC's Ann Thompson helps us look back at his colorful career.
Let me hear ya! A one, a two, a three. Take me out to the ball game.
He made the game's signature song his own. And along the way, Harry Caray became one of the reasons why Americans love baseball. He was the fans' broadcaster, for 53 years calling the game the way they would, always rooting for his home team, like a grown-up kid.
And the Cubs have men at first and third. How about that?
He ended his career as a fixture at Chicago's Wrigley Field, but began as the voice of the Cubs' arch rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Line drive, there it is! Into left field! Hit number 3,000! A run is scored! Musial around first! On his way to second with a double! Holy cow, he came through!
For 25 years, he called the plays of Stan Musial, Lou Brock, and Bob Gibson, until the Cardinals fired him in 1969 without explanation.
You would think to be a little bit of a personal touch. I am really hurt about it.
The fans were hurt too, protesting outside Busch Stadium. But it did not take Caray long to find another job.
Let's play ball!
After stints with the Oakland A's and the Chicago White Sox, Caray found a home in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. He became known as a Cub fan and a Bud man. But Caray's carefree lifestyle caught up to him in 1987 when he suffered a stroke. Celebrities like Bill Murray pinch hit for Caray in the broadcast booth.
Get going! Get out! Get out! Back! Yes! You can forget it, it's gone! How about that one? Chaco Uno, bro.
But it was clear when he returned that no one quite had Caray's star power.
I therefore proclaim today, May 19th, Harry Caray Day in Illinois.
This is Ronald Reagan.
Well, Mr. President, well, what a pleasant surprise.
Caray gave up drinking and focused on baseball. In 1989, he was inducted into the Broadcasters Division of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Though he cut back his work hours in recent years, fans say Caray was a beloved part of baseball.
He's part of Chicago, he's part of Wrigley Field, he's part of the game, he's part of all of it.
The man who began life as an orphan found a home at the ballpark and in the hearts of millions of fans. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Chicago.
He had a lot of heart. It is now 7:34, time for the weather and Al. The Chicago Cubs and their many fans are in mourning today. The team's eloquent announcer, Harry Caray, is dead. Caray spent more than a quarter of a century broadcasting baseball in Chicago, the first 10 years with the White Sox. Later, his raspy rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game became a tradition at Cubs games. Harry Caray died Wednesday in California, 4 days after suffering a heart attack. It is now 7:09. Let's go back to Matt, Jody, and now people in Chicago say that man lived 4 lifetimes. He was so enthusiastic.
And a lot of folks are saying the Cubs might really go out there this year and be inspired and play with extra vigor to try and win it for Harry this time around.
Certainly lost a legend.
Now our lives are complete. The Cubs are #1.